Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Motorsport Manager. This is episode number 26. We're at Milan, which of course is actually Monza. It's power heavy circuit, as all should know if you know the circuit. It doesn't quite play out the same way in the game as it does in real life, but it still has similar effects. Setup wise is the obvious example. You're not doing minimum downforce, maximum top speed. You're just doing things. We got to 99 and 98% respectively on the two cars, so they're in good shape. But as we head into qualifying, there is a reason to be a little bit optimistic. For one thing, our engine is not the worst on the grid. It's the only thing that isn't. Everything else is like right there, just off 11th. It's close. You know, we don't have major deficits, but the engine is the one area where we have moved up a bit. In fact, we have almost hit midfield when it comes to the engine, albeit we're still something like 9th, 10th, or even 11th worst. I don't know. It fluctuates every race. But one thing it is that we do have a little bit of engine power. And it is showing itself so far in this race. In practice, as we head out with Max, and let's just go ahead and do this quickly. As we head... Oh, terrible timing. Mercedes just blocked us off here as we start our lap. So Max right behind a Mercedes on their outlap. Probably lost a lot of time on that lap. I do have a reason to be a little bit optimistic that we might get out of Q1. Vern 21st, Verstappen 17th at the moment. That's even with having to being brake checked by a Mercedes coming out of the pits right in front of him. He very well could have been 2, 3, 4 tenths faster if not for that, which would definitely be over the threshold. You can see a huge gap from Magnussen up to Norris back. So I would imagine Norris had a similar problem as we did. A lot of these other cars are as fast as they're going to be. So there is a decent chance that we'll get it out of Q1, but there's pretty tight window between Norris and, like, say, Wickens. Already down to 4.5. Time going pretty quick. Lap's only 1:09 though, so we don't need a lot of time here. Alright, let's go ahead and get Max out there for his second. We are producing enough pace that I do think there's a pretty decent chance that we will not only get out of Q1, but that we should be competing in the points pretty early in this one today. Well, I suppose tomorrow. It is Saturday after all. Alright, Max is going to get his lap underway. He is quicker in Sector 1, quicker in Sector 2, and he improves to 15th. I was thinking maybe a 2.3. He gets all the way down to 2.1. Vern, meanwhile, is quicker in both of the first two sectors. Can he improve his time? Can he also get out of Q1? His car is not quite as quick as Max's. And he does! Oh, they both escape Q1. Nice lap from Vern there. He clears it by a full tenth over Norris in the McLaren. Wow. Cassidy, Wickens, Furline, Kubica, and Ericsson all out. Everybody is done with their laps. So yes, both cars out of Q1. And looking at the times and looking at how we get bonuses and how we treat races, I think we could probably get both cars into the points today and tomorrow. And maybe, just maybe, we can get Max up into the top 10 by the end of the race. I think starting-wise, we'll probably be somewhere in the neighborhood where we are right now. But race-wise, we always do a little bit better than our starting position, unless we have problems. Vettel quickest in Q1, the only one under a 1:10, but I would expect times will pick up a bit here in the second session. I'll wait just a little bit here. Already got a good amount of grip. Max, let's go ahead and get you going. I'm planning a one-stopper on softs, which will have plenty of grip to still provide really good times. Not much further off from the super softs. Being the one-stopper is certainly a good way to go. Alright, Max's time, slowest so far. Yeah, not a good time there. He is faster than Rosberg and Verne. Not a great first time, slower than he was in the last... Actually, both of them slower than they were in the last session, but of course grip is up now. And grip is already just about maxed out, so... track space is going to be important. We can see some guys heading out right now. Let's try to see if we can get some clean air, and I think now's a good time to get one of them going. Let's get Max out there. And we'll find some clean air here as well. Seems like an opportune time to make that second lap because the grip is already maxed out, so it's not like they're going to find anything more than there is right now. And it looks like we've got both guys into clean air. We do. So we start this lap in 16th and 18th. We've already dropped Rosberg. Improves his time. Max, how will he do? He heads around the what's supposed to be the Parabolica and gets around the McLaren. No slowdown there. Green through the first two sectors, and he moves ahead of Rosberg, but only Rosberg. He comes in just shy of Magnussen's time. I think he probably should have gotten at least that time. Verne, meanwhile, puts in a terrible lap and does not improve. So we are going to start from 16th and 18th. Perez doesn't get his lap started. Perez wasn't even close. He ran out of time. He was on his out lap, and he is eliminated. So Perez, Leclerc, Magnussen, Verstappen, Rosberg, and Verne are all eliminated in Q2. This time it's Hamilton, and he and Vettel both go sub 110 for this one. Finally, Q3 for the pole. Between the first two qualifying sessions, the two championship contenders traded off who was quickest. How will they be this time? Vettel goes fastest on the first lap. Both of them, again, the only ones that are sub 110. Will they go sub 109.8? Slow time by Hamilton, that time out. And Vettel actually improves by a couple tenths, so he'll be on pole. And fairly comfortably with Hamilton second, Bottas third, Glock fourth. It does appear that the Ferrari is quicker than the Mercedes here at the midpoint of the season. Consistently, Bottas has been well ahead of Glock. Vettel has often been ahead of Hamilton, though the championship, 31-point gap. And one race, like the third race of the season, Hamilton only scored 2 points, which was for pole. He finished at the back. He had a DNF. Vettel had the other 32 points, maximum available. 30 for the win, 2 for the quickest lap. And that 30-point gap was all but 1 point of what there is in a gap between the two. Vettel's had no DNFs. He has not been out of the points a single time this season. Hamilton just the once. So right now, that's the difference in the championship. But in terms of cars, the Ferrari has consistently been a little bit better off than the Mercedes this season. So I think the The difference is Hamilton's doing what he does in real life the last 2 seasons anyway, and that is outperforming and a slightly subpar Mercedes compared to the Ferrari, and then it's been Vettel who just can't pull together a championship performance. So at least that's my perspective on it, but of course Ferrari fans would suggest otherwise. They would suggest that it's the car and not the man. Yet this season, Leclerc massively outperformed him, and if it wasn't for the beginning of the year, where Ferrari again and again used team orders or team strategy to favor Vettel, Leclerc would have beat him by a lot more points than he did, which still was by a comfortable margin in the end anyway. And Leclerc actually probably could have been in contention for at least second place over Bottas, if not contending for the championship much longer, if they had not screwed Leclerc out of quite a few points at the beginning of the season. So, of course, the top 12 are all locked in, but starting further back, Leclerc is going to start on used hard tires, which means he will not go the distance on those. The hard tires can almost go the distance. A lot of cars on the softs. It looks like nobody's opting for the super softs in the back of the grid. It's a little surprising. I thought they could hold out for a while, and you could definitely have a two-stopper. But here we go. 5 red lights. Verstappen terribly slow off the line, and Verne so quick off the line that he had to check up and not crash into the back of Verstappen, who is just going backwards. Oh my goodness. He's all the way back to 23rd, so he has ruined a good qualifying session. Meanwhile, Verne has done really well, and it looks like his having to hit the brakes right after the start didn't affect him too much, as he's all the way up into battling for 12th right now with the Toro Rosso of Cassidy. And for the moment, he's cleared him and is up to P12. But meanwhile, here comes the Red Bull of Gasly, who had a ghastly start. And it has gone backwards, but he's making his way back up through the field. That's kind of the thing about a race like this, is engine power is going to definitely have a big impact. Meanwhile, Verstappen, after his slow start back to 23rd, is already back into 20th place. Tires are good. Hamilton has taken the race lead. Ocon second, Ricciardo third. Vettel, after a poor start, is fourth. Bottas, his start wasn't any better. He's in fifth. Grosjean has crashed and is out of this race. He didn't take anybody with him for a rare change, and that moves us into, well, now 13th, and Verstappen has already recovered to 16th. Verne is currently in first place of those on the softs, but Perez, 2 positions ahead of us on the hard compound, is the best placed driver. Verstappen now up to 14th, as he is really making his way through the field quickly here. We will need to start backing off neutral on the tires, as they are where we want them, but fuel, let's keep pushing for a little while. We're making rapid progress, and actually, let's go ahead and back off. Verstappen already into the no man's land in between Verne and Cassidy. Gap is opened up by a few seconds there, and Max is right in the middle of it. Meanwhile, Verne, who hasn't gone anywhere since his initial charge in the first lap, it's to be expected. His car is definitely not as good, but he's in a good position right now. If he could stay roughly where he is, he'll be in the points at the end of the day. But I'm hoping that Max still has some progress to make, and he certainly is showing that he could contend today and go the right way. A car like Raikkonen right there in 12th, those super softs are not going to last terribly long. He doesn't seem to have a ton of pace, so hopefully he's one of the ones that's going to go backwards, and we can move ahead of him after he's going to have to face a 2-stop strategy for certain in this race, unless he goes hard compound, and that'll make him definitely slower. Perez in the Racing Point is probably a little too quick for us. If he's going as quick as he is on the hard compound, I doubt that we'll contend with him. The Racing Point is definitely one of the quicker cars. Here comes Max putting pressure onto Verne now. Vettel has recovered to take second place, but he's 8 seconds behind the leader, Hamilton. Ocon is dropping back in third, but I would think he might be able to hold that unless Bottas is too quick, and or Glock for that matter. Vern for now holding on to 13th. It looks like we've recovered the fuel quite quickly here, and I'm thinking that I'm going to have Vern. I'm going to tell you to allow your teammate through. There you go. And now you can go ahead and race. So Max up to 13th, Vern in 14th. That's going to allow Max to continue moving forward. Of course, he has been much quicker since the race got started after Max had that terrible first half a lap anyway, where he just went backwards. He was really slow off the line, but since then he has been much quicker than his teammate, and he's already starting to pull away just a little bit. Half a second clear now when it was just a couple tenths, but meanwhile here is Norris starting to put a little pressure on. Now qualifying wise, Norris didn't do great, so maybe, just maybe, we can hold him off, as Verstappen has already recovered to and above his start position. But part of that is a slow getaway by Magnussen. Part of that is Grosjean missing. Otherwise, we're pretty much where we started, other than Vern a little bit higher. So Vern did benefit from that solid start. We do have this extra fuel to burn, and maybe will allow Max to drive away a little bit, burn up a little bit of that. In terms of positioning, top 10, well, the top 5 obviously have pulled away with Gasly's poor start, leaving him outside of the making it a pure Big Six. But then the Renaults, the other Red Bull, the Racing Points, and one of the McLarens are all looking pretty strong. So meanwhile, Perez on the hards, not quite with the other guys, and they're already starting to pit. Ocon is in. Stroll is in. So that's going to move us up to 11th and 12th for now. Stroll coming out right behind Vern actually helps us, because that's going to knock Norris back for a little bit before Stroll can pick it up and make his way around Vern. So Max is starting to kind of put himself into a little bit of a no man's land, and he's not far off from Raikkonen and Stroll. Raikkonen should be pitting here pretty soon. I mean Perez. But Perez on the hard compound, that's the only thing really keeping us close on him, I believe. There you go. Raikkonen peels off, and we move up into P10 and P12 as Stroll has made his way around Vern already. And we are half a second ahead of Norris still. Let's go back off again here. But Vern, meanwhile, definitely has some fuel to burn, so let's go ahead and ride with him for a little bit as he tries to do so. Sainz pits, and he's going to come out right behind Stroll. Okay, interesting. So Verstappen ahead of Stroll and Sainz for now. And Vern here in P12 is still right about a half a second ahead of Norris. So he's not gaining or losing ground on him, though here comes Norris pushing at the moment. Starting to put a little pressure on. Max down to 11th as both Stroll and Sainz go by. They are clearly in. Let's keep that going for a little while longer here. They're clearly in superior cars, but you can see the gap that Verstappen has opened up over Vern. I'm glad that I let him by, as it's definitely having an impact. Hulkenberg into the pits, and he will come out behind both of our cars. I would imagine he'll make his way back through. Now, most of those guys are going to end up may have to pit again. We're already on lap 23, actually. Hamilton has pit, Vettel has pit, 10-second gap between them. Glock up to third and 15 seconds behind. Bottas 19 seconds down. Gasly
31 seconds behind, but has now recovered up to 5th place. Ricardo, Stroll, who is missing Ocon. Ocon's had a problem. He was fixing a part when he went in, and it took him a very long time. He is 51 seconds behind in 14th place. So Ocon has gone from 3rd to 14th. And he did pit a while ago, but he was in there for a long time when he did pit. Just took me a while to pick up on it. I saw when he went into the pits, I didn't notice where he came out at. Still just the one car out of this race. Raikkonen, the only one... Oh, sorry. Raikkonen and Stroll, the only ones to pit and come out on super softs again. Everybody else switched over to the soft compound, which might be able to make a one-stopper work, by the way. Vern drops behind Ocon. Ocon recovering. He's up to 12th now. But again, we're in a good place. This is where I'd like to be later on. 10th and 13th would be a perfect result for us. We're at 35%. We're at 30%. Pit stop coming pretty soon. We're down to 21 laps, meaning we've already gone the distance we need to go. Ericsson crashes, and Kubica has retired. I wonder if that was Ericsson crashing into Kubica and damaging a part to the point where he had to withdraw from the race. So Vern, I want to pit soon. However, holding Norris behind us is definitely a good thing, but I don't know how much longer we can do that. So I think it's time that we're going to push with Vern, try to get a good in-lap here. And let's see, where is he? We're going to go one more lap around. There is pit road right there. We're going to attack this lap, and then we'll come out. I'm not changing compounds. There's very little difference. I will take the 15% bonus. Rosberg pitting. He's behind us. We should come out ahead of him, especially with a good pit crew that we have. There we go. Vern coming around Parabolica and to pit road. Verstappen just got passed by Ocon. No, Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg recovering a position there. And there we go. We're going to continue to push for a little bit with Vern. He is now a lap down. Hopefully the McLaren pits soon and comes out behind us. That'll be the big test, is where is Norris when all is said and done. We've actually recovered the position from Hulkenberg, so we are back ahead of him for now. And it is now Verstappen's turn. He is going to push for a bit. And we're going to come in this lap, actually. I don't want to wait another lap. He's going to go off that cliff. So, no, he didn't get a long term to push. And that's my bad. We lose a few tenths of a second that way, but I don't want to drop below 20% and drop any further, because that is the cliff threshold. Oh, wow, look at that. We come out just ahead of Vern, and sandwiched in between us in 16th is Magnussen, who has not pit yet. So, wow, look at the difference these new tires are making, though, if Vern has come up that close to where Verstappen is. So we could and should gain some significant time here in the next laps on Perez. No, Norris. Oh, and Norris has pit. Norris came out behind us. So Norris is out behind Vern. He just pit, and he's on the super softs, which is now giving him the pace. So he actually gets past Vern, unfortunately. Okay, so currently we are in P13, P16. Norris might even pressure Verstappen at this point. He's only 0.3 of a second behind us on a quicker tire. So apparently that tire was the way to go, but they will fade late. So hopefully Verstappen can get it back. I would imagine he's going to lose the position here unless he does a fantastic job of defending against Norris. Ocon has spun. His problems continue. Vern's problems continue as Magnussen is battling him, though Magnussen will have to pit still. His tires are very, very used up right now. Raikkonen ahead of us by 12 seconds, but he will have to pit. Perez still has to pit, but will probably come out ahead of us, though he's going to lose some time right now. So maybe, yeah, Perez is going backwards. Stroll is getting around him, so maybe, just maybe, Perez has overdone it. We are having a problem. There is Norris going on by, and here is Timo Glock trying to make his way through us, the lapped traffic. So Norris has gone by. He's got a lot of fuel to burn, though Vern does not. I think it's Vern's turn to back off a bit, because we only have 9 laps to go. There goes Bottas through. And if we can stay close to Norris, we might be able to overtake him before the end. But currently, both cars in the points, and there is still Raikkonen and Perez. Ignore. Wickens has spun. That's not going to affect us. He hasn't even pit yet. There you go. Raikkonen into the pits. Both cars go by. Yellow Sector 2. Didn't see what that was, though. We're up to 13th and 14th. Perez still needs to pit. I think both cars could and should get by when that time comes. I may not push Vern again until the final lap or so, depending on the condition. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. Perez, yeah, the gap's getting smaller. We've both pulled back a second. Or is it going the wrong way? No, it's not. Raikkonen is coming, though. He's coming with a head of steam. Vern is in a bit of trouble here. And Perez pits, and he comes out in between our cars. Wow, okay, that was a little unexpected. Perez, with fresh tires and just a few laps to go, it's probably going to be difficult to hold off here. Yeah, he's already getting us. He's got too much pace, especially with the fresh tires. So unfortunately, no position gain when it comes to Perez. Norris, meanwhile, is going to start to lose some pace. He's only a second and a half ahead of us. Nope, ignore. How are you doing? 2%! Oh my goodness. I think we have to stay out and hope we hold on and that we don't retire. But it also means that I cannot push these last couple laps. Verstappen we can, though. Verstappen's going to be fine. 2 laps to go. We're going to get 2 to go this time by. And we are very much in the middle of a battle. There is Perez and Norris just ahead of us. Let's go ×2 speed for these last couple laps. Here we go. We are coming back at Norris now. As those tires, I knew it was going to be tight to the end. Meanwhile, we have plenty of tires. We are not battling Timo Glock here. Hopefully he can get out of the way quickly and not slow us up. There you go. Right through Parabolica. We have 1 lap to go. And we have plenty of fuel, so let's attack, Verstappen. Let's attack. You have plenty of tires, so you should attack as well, but we can't attack otherwise because we're down to 2% on the brakes on this final lap. Max, here we go. Come on. Come on, Max. Get that position back. Oh, he's trying. He's trying. There he goes! Right into Parabolica, and he gets through. Yeah, it's an odd Parabolica because Parabolica is more like right here. But it's the final turn, anyway. And Max makes it on by to get into 12th. Vern hangs on to 15th with 2% left on the brakes. We get back around Norris right before the end. And Norris drops to 13th. Raikkonen did recover to 14th, though. But Max held him off as well. So, not a bad race. For one thing, both cars in the points. I was kind of hoping Max could get up to 10th. And that maybe we'd get 13th or 14th with Vern. But I'll take it. I will definitely take it, especially considering most of the cars ended up on a one-stop strategy. So, Glock and Bottas on 2 stoppers. Stroll was on a 2-stopper. Ocon was on a 2-stopper. and Raikkonen on the two-stopper, but otherwise everybody around us on a one-stopper, meaning we didn't benefit from Hulkenberg and Sainz and Perez, Norris all taking extra stops. But we beat Leclerc in the Toro Rosso, and we beat most of our closest rivals. So that's worth 4 points. Vern gets 1. So 5-point day is a good day for us. Even though there could have been more. Only 1 penalty on the entire day. That's one reason why we didn't get as high as we maybe could have. Was clean racing. Hamilton takes the win. 25 seconds clear of Vettel in the end. Vettel did get the pole position bonus, but it is Bottas who got the fastest lap. I'm sure that happened in the last few laps after he pit late on in the Ferrari. And that does go to show that the Ferrari was quickest, but Hamilton on the day was dominant. After 10 rounds, Max is 17th in the points, level with Magnussen. Vern now 3 points. He's taken 15th 3 times this season, and nothing better. 23 cars have scored this season. Ericsson, the only one who has yet to score a point. In terms of battling, Norris is right there. Wow, okay. Wickens with 30, and he took almost all those points in one race, most of them anyway. You can see the Racing Point, Toro Rosso, a bit too strong. Renault's definitely too strong. We're fairly competitive with the rest of the field. 28 points, 10th place, 4 clear of Audi. It doesn't say we changed places, but I'm pretty sure we did. We scored 5 points. So we moved from 11th into 10th in the championship. But of course our target is 9th, and that's going to be tough. Haas and Williams are the only ones within reach on that. But they both have a bit of a gap over us right now. And it's pretty tight between 10, 11, 12. Though I think Alpha is in a bit of trouble. Audi also has not scored points really since the first race. Where they got, something like 20 points that day. They've only managed to score about 4 points since then. So Alpha might slide ahead of them before the end if they continue to struggle the rest of the way. And meanwhile, we could, hopefully, pull back on the Haas and Williams and get ahead of one of them before the end of the season, if not both. I was hoping to get another race in for this episode. It's just really hard to do 2 for 1. It really is. I might have to just do a race off camera here at some point. But trying to squeeze it in, even with editing, they just don't fit. As quick as that was for an episode, it's still much too long to double it. So I love how they both get into the points and don't get any recognition. Next season's going to be crazy difficult, though, with just the top 6. So getting one good result where you squeeze into the top 10 is going to be what it takes. I don't think anybody's going to be scoring points next season for us. But positionally, things should still ultimately come out the same. It's just going to be that high position, meaning we're really going to have to focus on one car and not 2 next season. Take a quick look at some update things where we're at before we end the episode, since the race itself did go relatively quick, just not quick enough for 2. And we'll open with a pit crew update. You can see this time we had 17s across the board, but we do have Jackman, repair guys that are definitely up there now in terms of quality. We do have an 18 reserve now.
in terms of the pit crew itself, there's another 17. But then we have this group. We have a 20, 19, 20, 18. So we have a very good developing group. Problem with all 4 of those guys is they are low stamina. So they do one race and then have to recover and come out as a group. And then there's still only this 18, which doesn't boost us up a whole lot compared to what it could be. So my hope is we find another strong one, and we don't. There's a 17 at best. I get a +1 to every stat. This guy's pretty good, but not gonna help us. And so no new ones this time, which is rare. I've actually been picking up new pit crew about 1 per race here recently, but not that time. We do have a new part done on the car, some new brakes, which we had new brakes on the car for this race, and you can see that they barely made it. Okay, quick interview. You use team orders in the race, which is something that fans are not particularly keen on. What do you have to say to them? Okay, there you go. Little choice. Yeah, nobody's offended by that one. Yeah, see, we were quite a bit slower for pit stops that time compared to normal. Alright, so new brakes, but they're only 48% reliable right now. Would be not one of the... Oh, language. Alright, so brakes. Can we do better than what we just did? That's 4. And is this pretty much what we just did, though? A 947 max. 947 max. Is that what we just did? Let me see. No. A 907 max. So we can get up to a 947 max. Meaning we can go 1 level higher. So let's do that. Let's get that in there. And we'll take the... maybe we should take the max one, because that'll give us even higher. There you go, 952. We start off a little bit lower. It's going to take further to get us where we need to be. But with the max, instead of just taking the automatic, we'll get to a 952 for our top one. Take that. So 1 more to go. Take a little while with all the higher level parts. 9 days on this one, 9 days on this one, 4 days on that one extra. So nearly a month. Now you can see, there we go, engine is 9th. But everything else, even though we've improved, everything else is still 12th. You can see just the front wing and the rear wing are still quite a ways off from everyone else, but we've certainly improved, but we're still 12th best, which is a little bit shocking. I really thought, considering we came in as the weak team, I figured that when Audi was promoted, they'd get a relatively competitive car, but it would still be 12th. We will wait. There we go. Looks like we have some new sponsors, and we're going to be able to start working on the cars again. So we do have an engine that's at 86%. That's okay for now. I think we can pull that off of there. And we need to get this first set of brakes done as quickly as possible, because that set of brakes will be on the cars. Yeah, we'll do an 11 there. That should get it ready to go on the car.
see, we're going to get plenty of improvement out of the rear wings when we can get to it. But that's been the tricky part of late is it looks like we need to improve our factory big time. But that'll get that set of brakes ready to go, which are at an 834 right now. The other one was on the car this time at 63%. That was the one that ended up having, oh no, actually it was this one, the 65% one, that had just 2% left at the end. You know what? Actually, I think it was this one. I think this was the one that Vern was using in the race. I don't know how he got so low, but okay then. Okay then. Let's see what we have for a new sponsor offer. Just the one coming available this race. In fact, it's going to be another 5 races before we have another. Getting both cars into the top 15 is good for the marketability, as it's been a bit of a struggle to get anything to help us. So with 3-star appeal, it's not looking great. But we do have a fixed pay per race. I do like those, as they certainly add up. That's 2.6 per race for 10 races, but it comes all at once. That's 2.6, but that's over 13. So even though it's slightly more, it's definitely not worth it. So we're either looking at Airbnb, which has the best pay rate, but this does last longer. But I like the pay per race. When it's up front, you use it, and then you lose it, and then what do you have going from there? So I do prefer these, even though it's technically not as good of a deal. But spread out over 14 races, it actually does pay more in the end. Just I like the per race rate as how I consider those. Excuse me. Whew. Upgraded staff center for Haas and car repair finished, of course. Headquarters, no money. We only have the 15 million, though that has improved steadily, but only gradually. So I'm kind of waiting until the end of the year to get into doing something else again. But I certainly think that our factory really needs to see an improvement next, because you get the extra 15 development staff and 6 more improvement slots. That makes a really big difference. So we need 25 million to make that happen, and that's going to be our next headquarters upgrade. We just don't have it right now. I might get it started before the end of the season, though, if we get up to that level of funding and have essentially done whatever upgrades we're going to do on the car for the year, knowing that, we have that taken care of. But having the worst headquarters, having a poor staff and weak sponsors, not helping us improve the car terribly well. But we're still making the improvements. We're getting better and better. We're getting points, so we're certainly not going to get relegated. And right now, job security is very secure, but they might be pretty upset at the end of the season if I don't move up one more place in the standings. I think our objective was 9th. That's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.